So in establishing a posture, things that I find useful to check each time is the alignment of the body. It sounds obvious, but it is very easy for us to end up sitting in a posture which is not really supporting us. We might be kind of out of kilter, to use that phrase, maybe leaning to one direction or the other, or to the sides, or to the front or back. It's very, I know, I see this in myself, and so it's good to primarily, first and foremost, establish a posture which is upright, except still maintaining the natural curves of the spine if we were looking at ourselves from the side, because our backs are not bolt upright or straight. That's not the way the human body is meant to be. It's not meant to be designed like that. So what I try to do, and we need to use both the physical sensation and also our mind's eye, is to imagine the ear canal, the shoulder, and the hips, shoulder socket and hip socket all in line. So if we had a plumb line along the side of our body, those 3 points would be in line. And so because we can't see that, we need to imagine and do the best we can by placing the body in a position where we think we feel that those are in alignment. Also to be holding the head so that the chin is neither lifted above a normal level, what we would call a level chin, and it's not lifted and it's not dropped. Because if we're holding the head out of alignment, because the head weighs so much, this can create muscular tension. And where there's excess muscular tension, this can also create, it can block energy. It can also create sort of a very subtle mental tension. So for these next minute or so, a couple of minutes, just try and feel the body, so it's upright yet relaxed. So we could say that we're sitting still, and that would be, it's accurate in its own way, and yet the body is moving, it's pulsing. The vibration of the energy of the body, and it's breathing, and it's all wrapped up, they're all connected. Heart beating, feeding the body, keeping us alive. And focusing on the body like this is very much in line with the Buddha's instructions. In particular, the Satipatthana Sutta, the teaching on using the 4 frames of reference or foundations of mindfulness, body, feelings, mind states, and mind objects. The first one, body, gets the most page space. It gets the most description as a form of meditation. So, as one of our dear teachers refers to as attention grounded in the body. There's that English expression, to be grounded. It's a positive state. So attention grounded in the body. Get out of our heads. So without doing anything, let's just, for the next couple of minutes, just keep our attention within our own body. Between the crown of the head and the fingertips and tips of the toes. Awareness of the body. Perhaps we start to discern these different movements of the body. Discern the breath, discern the pulse. Becoming sensitive. Alert. Now, refining our focus a bit more. Let's place our attention just more on the breathing process. Without changing the natural flow of breath. It will change on its own. but just be the witness to the breath, entering and leaving the body. So our attention grounded in the body breathing. Gently, not in a tight way. Mindfulness of breathing in and out. When the mind wanders, we know where to go. We just gently go back to being mindful of the breath. And no matter how many times our attention gets drawn elsewhere, maybe a sound triggers off another a thought process, or just thoughts arise. This is completely natural. We are thinking beings. We have intellect, very developed intellects, remarkably fast thought processes. So it's not unnatural for that thinking to come in. And as soon as we recognize that and notice, just really gently, just recognize, make a note, oh, okay, mind's wandered, and go back to the breath. In this way we're noticing the movement of the mind. Just noticing, witnessing, not judging. Now to add one more element, if we do notice the mind, our awareness drifting away from the breath, to also notice the feeling tone, or as they say in quite modern language, the felt sense. And in Buddhist tradition, feeling is really just whether it's pleasant or whether it's unpleasant or neutral. It's not giving a label to any particular emotion. It's more just, is this what's the feeling tone? Is it a pleasant perception, or is it unpleasant, or is it just somewhere in the middle? For most of us, unless we're experiencing difficulty breathing, the breathing process typically is in the neutral, more often than not in the neutral zone. Ordinary. But perhaps thoughts and emotions arise. And before returning to the breath, just make a mental note. Take a look. Be the witness to the feeling tone, and then return to the breath. When thoughts and emotions arise, we often judge them and start to complicate things, compound things, adding to the initial arising thought or feeling, often creating a story or trying to solve it or justify it. This is very natural. But if we are doing that, then also witness that, notice that, be the witness. And oftentimes it's that just witnessing or noticing, it cuts the story. It stops. Might come back, but it's that stepping back, sort of stepping back and watching. Be the watcher, the knower of complication, the knower of judging. And then return to the breath. We keep going home to the breath. Perhaps our inner world is calming down a little bit. There's more collectedness in our awareness, our mindfulness. Perhaps not in a tight way, but then maybe the mind and emotional world isn't straying quite so far before we notice. One of our teachers refers to these states of collectedness and calm, focus as lucid calm. Lucid calm. So there's a calmness, tranquility, and yet clarity, lucidity. And clearly seeing. Alert, yet relaxed. Open, not tight. calm we experience, the more lucidity that we experience, as clarity, then the more we see. We see clearly what our experience is at any given moment. In particular, our inner world. To see thinking, thoughts, to see emotions, to really see them for what they are. They are caused by various conditions. That's just a human package. We experience things and we feel and we think. So developing, discernment to know what's what and to respond appropriately. And that includes not responding, and just letting things that are either not wanted or not useful, just let them pass through. If something's worthy of cultivation, wholesome thoughts, we can also nurture that. Thoughts of loving kindness, thoughts of compassion, thoughts of gladness at the good fortune of others. These bring joy to ourselves, and when we're joyful it affects other people, but life isn't always like that. Life is not always joyful. So it's not just a case of us trying to make ourselves sort of happy, clappy, smiling all the time. No. Clearly seeing what's what. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, responding appropriately. Lucid calm is our tool to seeing, our tool to developing these qualities of seeing, of knowing, of witnessing. Yeah, as I mentioned also at the beginning of the evening, that just offer a short reflection. Using these structures, if we use opportunities. So in life, as we're aware, there's so many different opportunities. So many different, so many paths we can choose, so many options. I don't know, whether it's true, but it just seems like that there's just more and more and more and more options available on one level. so many things we can do, especially because we can do so many things virtually. With the way technology works, it's just opened up this whole, over these last 20, 30 years or whatever, it's just opened up this whole possibility of virtual experience. And it's not all bad, but it's not all good. We know that. And I think this became, in terms of how much goodness, at least in my own perception, how much goodness came to light during all the lockdowns when we were, pretty much just globally really much more restricted in our movement, much more, very restricted, and that how many things got offered and online that were wholesome. I think that really, just because I keep a little bit of an eye on the news. And just reading how many more people were seeking spiritual teachings, through technology, and using those opportunities. Here again, I'm very intentionally using that word opportunity quite a lot, because if we use that opportunity skillfully, we can really grow as people, grow as human beings. So the fact that there's so many of you here this evening, it's a Sunday evening. You come, there's a vast array of things that we could all be doing. I mean, for us, it's more limited. There's only so much that we can do on a Sunday night. It's basically either be here or in our hut or whatever. It's not like we would go out. But especially in particular members of the lay community, there's so many choices and options, and yet you're here. Or if you're watching from home or watching from elsewhere via the live stream, there's so many different things. You could be, instead of looking at our YouTube channel, it could be looking at, YouTube is endless. Even while you're scrolling through, there's probably thousands of things getting added around the world to YouTube. It's endless. And yet you're watching something that's uplifting, which is nourishing, or coming here. And some of you may have even spent, part of the day, much of the day here, because we offer a lot on a Sunday like this. There was the lay forum, the monthly lay forum started at 2. Then we had Ajahn Chittapala hosted a weekly question and answer period. And then this. Devoting ourselves to things that nourish us. And one of the words we often use for spiritual development in our tradition is to cultivate. Oftentimes it's translating the word bhavana, which is often used for meditation, but it's a cultivation. And for any of us who are gardeners, it's that cultivating, that nourishing, watering, feeding in a good way. But it's up to us how to use it. So we can do these things. We can dial in from home, or we can come here, or we can live here. But if we don't use these opportunities to their fullest, then it's a lost opportunity, I would say. And so now, does that mean we have to be tight and like, okay, I gotta use every second, use my opportunity? No, it's a relaxed. I was using that term earlier this evening: relaxed attention, relaxed application, relaxed focus. So that there's an easefulness. Even when we're experiencing difficulty, there can be an easefulness of how we receive challenging things, because each and every one of us, it's going to happen. There is, who can escape uncomfortable situations? Who can escape painful situations, distress, challenges? But we can all develop also, each and every one of us, we can develop the heart and mind that can receive and experience this vast array of possibilities of experience. and with openness, with acceptance. And I like to always point out that acceptance does that not mean approval. It's not approving of everything, but it's accepting a situation at that moment. This is what's going on. So, because I do also keep an eye on the news, sometimes we read things that they're just really distressing, really distressing, and that distress, we're not even part of it, and it's distressing, and through compassion, through looking at that, and really, wow, what if we were actually going through that? Right? And so right now, maybe we're not. Maybe we're just the witness to that, the observer of distressful situations. But to not just blank out our emotional world. We're not trying to, through meditation, through cultivation, through bhavana, we're not trying to sterilize or sanitize consciousness or our experience, or just create this here again, just happy. I want to get happy. Well, that makes sense. We don't want to be unhappy. And if we look around at the world, is always trying to convince us that we have to be happy. I mean, what does advertisements do? What are they doing? What are we hearing from a young age? Oh, you get this and be happy, and achieve this, be something. But that's not actually the way life works. And we've learned that. We learn that. But still, there's that conditioning of, there's pressure to be happy. But the happiness that the Buddha was pointing at was, this is just my own way of reflecting on it, and also I've heard others reflect on it this way, is it's the happiness of not having to be happy all the time. It's the joy of acceptance, and that takes a great pressure off. Well, I don't have to be happy all the time, because A, it's impossible. So why are we trying to do something that's impossible? But there's that pressure, or if there's unhappiness or challenge, I got to get rid of that, and then I'll be okay. The pressure of wanting to be okay, but our version of being okay is to get rid of everything that's not okay. Here again, it makes sense. Intellectually, it makes sense, but sometimes we just have to accept that a situation is going to linger longer than we want when things don't go our way, right? Because we're not just isolated beings. We're not just singular isolated being, not affected by the world. What are we going to do? Live in a cave? Is that the answer? Live in a cave and just lock ourselves away and not have contact with other people and things? Even then, we're dependent on food. We're depending if we get sick, of course we could just get sick and cope, but no, we are social beings. And so, but it's how we use that socialization, how we live it. And so by cultivating wholesome qualities in our life, and so, for instance, just now, many people wanted to participate in the refuges and precepts, and so it's establishing ourselves in wholesome activity, refraining. I undertake the precept to refrain from taking the life of living creatures. I undertake the precept to refrain from doing these things. It's not thou shalt not. It's not somebody saying you have to do this. It's no, I undertake, I pick up this practice of wholesome activity, wholesome actions through body, speech, and mind. And so that's a tool. That's a way of living, which is also a tool to developing and cultivating this lucid calm, of cultivating positive responses to negative things. Doesn't mean we're trying to turn something negative to be positive. No, that's like trying to turn an apple into an orange. But we can receive a situation and we can say, oh, is there a way forward? What is the way forward? what would be a wholesome response to something challenging or even shocking? Sometimes things can be really shocking. So how, if with more lucid calm, with more equanimity, more balance in the system, in our being, that groundedness of being able to respond as appropriately as we can at that moment. And yeah, sometimes it's just too much. It's a tsunami of either emotion or thought or situation. And here again, but the more steady we are, the more we can do, the more we can respond. But within our own abilities at any given moment, our own capabilities. So it's not trying to turn us into super people or anything. It's, we're limited. As human beings, there is a limit to what we can do. But before wrapping up, I want to go back to this idea. The peace or joy of not having to be happy all the time. So to be completely open to when things don't go the way we want them. They aren't the way we want. Yes, this is not about saying, okay, I'll be like just a doormat to life. No, we can shape our lives. We can put in effort. It's not just it's all good. There's that expression that's been going around for the last 20 years. It's all good. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. It's not all good, right? But we can do good. And we can, when things, if there is something we can do to shape a situation, either internally or externally, if we can put in effort, wholesome effort that doesn't harm ourselves, doesn't harm others, doesn't create harm for anybody or anything, then we can do that. And then maybe we can affect some change. Maybe we can, and we can as human beings, we can do a lot. We can do a lot. But always keep that grounded, that lucid calm. It's not just in meditation, in that clarity of mind. Clarity of seeing things clearly, what's there. And if there's confusion, to know that we're confused. If we really know clearly exactly what's going on, we're clear about that. So we know when we know, and we know when we don't know. So this we can all do. This we can all do. These teachings were not presented because it can't be done. The Buddha didn't. He taught people. It's also said that he taught, unseen beings. That's quite a lovely thought. Beings both seen and unseen. And so, but he spent, after his awakening, his enlightenment, 45 years giving and teaching and sharing, establishing community so that people could benefit from what he benefited from, sharing what he experienced. And that's his legacy. And this is the inheritance, that these teachings are still alive. And it's not just Buddhist teachings. All the different spiritual teachings that have been handed down over the millennia. And then just to bring it full circle, this opportunity that we have. Each and every one of us, at this moment, we're taking the opportunity to be here, now. So I think that's probably enough for this evening. And these are just words to reflect on. It's not anything meant to be truth, but just sharing things that have been rumbling around for myself, and just also the experience of today. And but I would like to invite Venerable Sianato, perhaps if you could lead us in a closing chant, because my voice is clearly not functioning well. this evening.